Hi, it's Dwyer, gamblersadvisory.com. Here to talk about a big fight coming up, the rematch of the light heavyweight championship bout between champion Jean Pascal and challenger and future Hall of Famer Bernard Hopkins. Now, before I go further, let me just say the opinion you should follow should be your own. Just consider this video to be a second opinion from a complete stranger online. I believe that the CompuStat numbers for the first fight tell the secret of the matchup between these two. Before I get to that, though, let's just use common sense. Jean Pascal knocked down Bernard Hopkins 2 times in 2 different rounds, right? In other words, the knockdowns did not happen in the same round. They actually happened in different rounds. Early in the fight, where an impressionable judge might actually then start scoring close rounds for Pascal with memory of the knockdowns in their consciousness. Well, my point to you is simply this. It was a 12-round fight. Let's just do the math. I think the math is really important in some fights. I think it's important here. If you gave Pascal 10-8 rounds for each of the knockdown rounds, he would have a 4-round lead just from those 2 rounds, right? Since it's a 12-round fight, that means that in the other 10 rounds of the fight, to offset that 4-point lead, Bernard Hopkins would have to win 7 of the remaining 10 rounds, right? He'd need to go 7-3 on the remaining 10 rounds just to catch up to Jean Pascal. Now, take a look at the actual scoring of that first fight. 2 of the judges believe that Bernard Hopkins did just that. They actually had the fight a draw, and the other judge actually had Bernard Hopkins winning the fight by 2 rounds. In other words, what they're saying is of the other 10 rounds, Bernard Hopkins, at least for the judge that actually scored the fight and had a winner, he believed Bernard Hopkins won 9 of the other 10 rounds. Now, if that's true, then just mathematically, the judges are telling you that Bernard Hopkins dominated the first fight. And it, if true, would be reflected on the punch stat numbers, since Bernard Hopkins never knocked Jean Pascal down, right? There are no knockdowns for Jean Pascal, right? Pascal knocked Hopkins down. So I went to the CompuBox numbers just to see if that's the case. And of course, in fact, the CompuBox numbers do show dominance by Bernard Hopkins. In fact, Jean Pascal landed 86 punches. Bernard Hopkins landed 153. Think about the margin, 86 to 153. Pascal landed 25% of his punches. Bernard Hopkins landed 30% of his punches, and in my opinion, was the stronger fighter at the end of the fight. I don't believe that first fight was that close. I didn't believe it was that close when I saw the fight. I certainly don't believe it's that close just looking at the math of the fight. I like Bernard Hopkins in the rematch. I believe there's only so much in a training camp that Jean Pascal can do, because really Hopkins' dominance in the matchup is one of technique and style, right? Jean Pascal is an ambush fighter, and Pascal will stay outside, then he will jump in, and the beauty of Pascal is that when he jumps in with very hard punches, right? He's throwing hooks. He throws combinations to the head and the body. He doesn't just focus on the head. He's not just a headhunter, right? Pretty heavy-handed guy. Take a look at his Pablo Nieves fight. You're going to see Pretty brutal knockout. Pascal has one punch knockout power. Then he jumps back outside. Now, ambush fighters right now are ruling the roost in boxing. Manny Pacquiao, in my opinion, is an ambush fighter. Sergio Martinez, in my opinion, is an ambush fighter, right? What ambush fighters do is they make it very hard for counterpunchers to time them because they're too far away, just throwing a token jab. Then they hop in, throw a combination, then they get back out. They're not there long enough for a traditional boxer or a counter puncher to actually time them, figure out the rhythm, and then actually counter, right? And ambush fighters tend to have faster hand speed than the typical fighter, right? Just think of Pacquiao, Sergio Martinez, Jean Pascal, and they also tend to hit harder than the average fighter. I know Pacquiao is suffering a power outage at welter, but think back to when Manny Pacquiao fought at 126. You'll be surprised at how high his knockout ratio was. And of course, Sergio Martinez put Paul Williams to sleep, put Sergio Zinzaruk to sleep. Quite frankly, if you go back and look deeper into his history, you're going to find that he knocked down Kermit Cintron, got jobbed on that. In fact, Martinez, as good a boxer as he is actually a knockout puncher, right? Here's the problem. Normally, this ambush style, and Pascal is a master at it, normally this ambush style would overwhelm most fighters. The problem is he's fighting a very mobile Bernard Hopkins. And Hopkins knows that the way you beat an ambush fighter is to follow them after the ambush. And I'm a big believer that boxing is a sweet science. It's about cracking a fighter's code. I believe it's clear from the way Hopkins dominated the latter part of their first fight that he has cracked Jean Pascal's code. He knows how to defend himself when Pascal comes in on an ambush. He knows the parts in the ring from which Pascal likes to launch an ambush. He knows how to follow Pascal around the ring. If you look at the latter rounds of their first fight, you're going to see that he actually starts hitting Pascal to the body. And that's key because ambush fighters in general, and I'm going to overgeneralize, but you know what? That's what I do in analyzing fights. Ambush fighters in general tend to have stamina problems. Only Manny Pacquiao seems to be the Energizer Bunny. If you look at Sergio Martinez, who has great stamina, but you're going to notice that Martinez will take rounds off, right? The Kelly Pavlik crowd believes that their man had the upper hand in the middle rounds of Martinez against Kelly Pavlik, right? I believe it's because ambush fighters throw so many power punches as a percentage of their overall punches in fights, and because they're moving, right? To be an ambush fighter, you have to move and stay outside before the ambush. They tend to get tired. Now, Jean Pascal has a history of getting tired in fights. Take a look at Pascal in the later rounds against Chad Dawson. You're going to see Pascal look winded. He looked tired. He looked winded and tired to me in the later rounds of his first fight against Bernard Hopkins. And all I could say is, once a fighter has cracked the other fighter's code, even when that other fighter's an ambush fighter, then they never lose that knowledge. In other words, Hopkins is not getting by on just effort. He's not an energy fighter. He's actually a technician, just like Eric Morales. These are scientific guys who have scientific approaches to the sports. And keep in mind, Hopkins beat Roy Jones, who's like the father of ambush fighting for this current generation. Roy Jones, believe it or not, is the idol of Jean Pascal, who has modeled his game after Roy Jones. I took Bernard Hopkins in the first fight of these two, and the fight turned out to be a draw, but Bernard was the underdog. The reason I did so is because I noticed that Bernard Hopkins seemed to know how to neutralize Roy Jones and was able in that fight to routinely get inside on Roy Jones as that fight went along. Not surprisingly, he did the same thing with Jean Pascal. So I like Bernard in this fight. Let me also make another point. Let's talk about the rematch between another technician, Juan Manuel Marquez, and an ambush fighter, Manny Pacquiao, right? I believe, and you'll have to just go back and look at the tape, and I understand that the first fight was ruled a draw, and the second fight, Pacquiao won that fight. I believe it was either a majority decision or a split decision, right? I understand that, at least on paper, it looks like Pacquiao actually improved from fight 1 to fight 2. I'm just here to tell you that, in my opinion, Juan Manuel Marquez actually did better in the second fight than he did the first fight. Of course, these fights had different judges. But take a look at Manny Pacquiao's eye at the end of the second fight. You're going to see, too, if you look at the fight and just look for Marquez's right hand, Marquez has Pacquiao timed the entire fight. He's landing that right hand with regularity the entire fight, especially when it's the last punch he throws in a combination. In other words, he had already timed Manny Pacquiao. Now keep in mind, in this fight, you have a different dynamic than that fight had. Marquez is not as mobile, pound for pound, as Bernard Hopkins. Hopkins, at 45, 46, whatever he is still a very mobile fighter. He still has the foot speed. Take a look at him against Winky Wright. Take a look at him against Kelly Pavlik. Right? In the Pavlik fight, it's clear he's much more mobile than Kelly Pavlik. Take a look at him in the first fight against Jean Pascal. He's mobile, so he not only has knowledge of Pascal, just like Marquez had knowledge of Pacquiao, but he also has the ability, which Marquez didn't have, to actually follow Pascal around the ring. Let me also point out, too, that let's say Pascal in training decides to change his style, that's going to be too severe of a change. That would be like a guy who speaks English in training camp suddenly deciding that he's going to learn Spanish in 4 months so that he'll be able to then debate a person where Spanish is their first language in some kind of debate on the origins of the language. It just doesn't work. Training camp, you can refine what you have. You can add 1 or 2 tools. But a ambush fighter is not, in one training camp, going to be able to completely retool his game. I believe Pascal took this fight too soon. I understand the politics involved, Hopkins' age, the fact that Pascal was set to face Chad Dawson. But all I'm saying is Pascal took the rematch too soon to retool his style. If you're betting big money, I like Hopkins to win. Let me make 2 caveats. If Pascal is going to win this fight, there is a possibility of Pascal getting an early KO. Keep in mind, he got 2 early knockdowns last time, right? Think about the other ambush fighters you know. Sergio Martinez early knocked down Paul Williams in their first fight. Forget the second fight, right? Then, of course, Manny Pacquiao has made a career of dropping guys early. Dropped Marquez early, dropped Miguel Cotto early. It's very hard to time an ambush fighter early. There is the possibility of Pascal getting an early knockout. So the bet I'm recommending is Hopkins to win the fight with 2 kickers. Straddle it with a little bit on Pascal by early knockout. Pascal 1-6. The other kicker you want to throw is on the possibility of Hopkins by KO late. This fight's going to be much more intense than the first fight. Thanks for watching.